Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. That sounds really weird saying 23 already. But anyways, in the last episode, if you guys didn't catch the first episode of the series, basically, we just got our team set up. We had our first draft and whatnot. I will show you guys which players we drafted and what they look like as well, just because it's kind of fun to put like a face to the name in a sense, because all these guys are going to be drafted players, right? So a lot of these guys are going to be EA generated players on our roster. I also show you guys the jerseys because I forgot to show you guys our team jerseys in last episode for some weird reason. And then we're going to slow sim the first game in franchise history in the regular season, and we'll see who scores the first ever goal in our team history as well. And then we'll give some predictions on how much wins we think our team is going to have by the end of the season. And then we'll sim the season and set up for the next episode, which will be the draft. So, yeah, let's first show you guys the jerseys for this team. So actually, wait, no, we'll do the jerseys once we get to the start of the regular season, make it a little bit easier on us. But first, let's take a look at our players on this team that we drafted. Also, I want to thank you guys for the support on the very first episode we had. We got a good amount of views already. We got like 1,700 views since I recorded that episode, and that's only like in the span of like 2 days, I think. Maybe even less than that. But anyways, here's one of our first picks. We have Ashton Brophy. He was a 7th round pick. He's a medium bottom 6 playmaker. Might end up being something. He's going to get a chance to play on our top line this year. We did draft like 3 forwards and 3 defensemen and 1 goaltender, so we have a good abundance of players. We want to go to his face just to see what his face looks like. So this is what his face looks like. Nothing too special, but there is Mr. Ashton Brophy rocking the number 46. Should be exciting to see if any of these guys get a lot of development out of the gate. We also do have a couple right wingers here. We have our first ever pick in our franchise mode, that being Matt Jorgensen or Jorgensen, one of the two. He's a 75 overall medium elite, so hopefully he gets a good abundance of growth in his first NHL season. Obviously, he is the guy I have on the thumbnail, just because he's our first ever pick, but he kind of looks like a Mark Stone kind of player, but with like spiky hair, so that's kind of neat. He's probably our captain because he's way better than everybody else by a landslide in overall. Then we also have Mr. Tristan Sloan, who was our 3rd round pick at 69th overall, so this guy, a meme worthy of a pick. 58 medium bottom 6, what is it, type of player? Sniper. So maybe he could score some goals for us this year. We'll see if Jorgensen is able to set him up a decent amount. But let's look at his appearance. He's got a bit of a cool look. Nothing too special either, but there is his face just in case you guys want to put a face to his name. Then we'll go to our defensive prospects now, because we got a couple of those. We got 3 of them. We first got Kirill Nikitin, who was our 2nd round pick at 36th overall. He might end up being something decent because he's got some solid offensive attributes, and he does have top 6 potential. So we'll see if he ends up reaching that potential or not. If not, he could be like a solid top 6 option maybe at some point. And this is what he looks like. Looks like he's got one of the new faces in the game, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got gray hair to boot. That's actually quite a look. I like this one. That's probably the best look we've seen so far. And he's rocking the number 19 as a defenseman, which is kind of cool. Going with like the old school, not old school, but Jay Bouwmeester style with St. Louis. I love to see it. We also got Juha Voutilainen, who was our 6th round pick. He's a DFD, only 7th D potential, but still, who knows? Maybe he's going to get up to like a 75 or something, which would be okay with me. Obviously, he's probably not a long-term player here, but he's also got gray hair, so apparently we got a lot of old men on the blue line, which is kind of funny. So there you go with Voutilainen. And our last defenseman that we got before we show the goaltender is Colin Little. This guy is also got top 6 potential, but he's only a 49. He's a 4th round pick, so we'll see if he's able to get some good development or if he's going to stay low overall. He's getting, I think, top pairing time, if I'm not mistaken. So with Nikitin, he just has a pretty basic face. Probably the most boring face of the game so far. And then finally, our goaltender, who is going to be starting between the pipes, Mr. Dominic Klesla. He's got medium fringe starter potential, only a 52, but hopefully get some good development. He was a 5th-round pick of ours. Let's take a look at Klesla. He is a goalie too, so it's a little bit of a weird one, but let's take a look at his face. Okay, rocking a little bit of a stash. You love to see it. What color of eyes does he have? I can't change his eye color. I think that's probably like a hazel eyes. Interesting. And he's got all black gear to start off with because for some reason this is skill in the game. But there is our draft picks that we got in last episode. I will continue to do that every single start of the season just to show you guys like the new faces on the team, because it would be kind of interesting just to put faces to everybody on the team. Now that that is done, let's assimilate up to the first game of the season. So let's not worry about the preseason at all, because the preseason does not matter in the slightest, even to a new franchise. Let's go to our first ever game, which is a home game against Winnipeg. But we probably won't win that much games this season, like, because we're already struggling in the preseason alone. Yeah, we didn't win a single game in that preseason. That's pretty bad. Okay, so our first ever game in franchise history is against the Winnipeg Jets on home ice. That's actually pretty cool. Let's take a look at our jerseys, because I didn't show you guys those in last episode. And you guys would have seen one in the thumbnail at least, but here is our home jersey. I think it's a pretty sick jersey. It looks pretty ice cold. And then our away jersey is pretty much just a reverse version with the white. And then the alternate jersey, I went kind of different and like off the board. We got like a dark blue jersey, and I think this one looks pretty sick as well. So those are our 3 jerseys for our inaugural season. If you guys want me to change any of these jerseys or make some new ones throughout the years, we could always do that in the off season. But anyways, now that that is done, let's give some predictions on how we think we're going to finish the season. I don't even know if we're going to hit 5 wins, to be honest, because we have like so much 50 overall players. Like, let's go to the added lines for a second. Yeah, I feel like we're going to not hit 5 wins. We might hit 5 wins, maybe because of this top line. Because who knows, maybe Jorgensen's like kind of like an X Factor type player to get us wins. Let's see. Oh yeah, the edit strategy thing, that's new. I forgot about doing this. I don't even know how it works really. Doesn't look like I could change anything interesting. But let's give a prediction of, let's just say at the most we're going to get 5 wins. I don't think we're going to get over 5 wins. So let's do a real-time simulation of this first ever game in franchise history to see if we get our first ever goal scorer, and then we will simulate the entire season and set up the draft for next episode. But yeah, hopefully it's a pretty shitty season so we get a decent draft pick in. So first period of our first ever game in franchise history in front of our hometown fans, and we're down 1-0. Not a surprise that we haven't scored yet. Second period, down 2-0. Are we going to score a goal in our first game? I don't think so. And third period, we're down 4-0. We lose by a score of 4-0. So no goals for, and we got outshot 48-8. Did that say? Yeah, damn. We only had 4 shots in the first period, 3 in the second, and 1 in the third. God damn. Wow. Okay, I guess we have to get into game 2 until we see our first ever goal in franchise history, because we need to know who that is, and they will be forever immortalized in this franchise mode. And then, like I said, we'll simulate the entire season just quickly, because at least next gen speed's pretty quick. Second game, first period, we're still haven't scored in 5 periods, and we're getting outshot 18-2 after 1. Wow. Second period, hey, there's our first ever goal in franchise history, and it's a guy that I didn't even draft, Koppinen. And third period, we lose 5-2, so we did get another goal, and it's Jorgensen that gets the late goal. So there's our first ever drafted player goal, and it's by our first round pick. Not a surprise. Yeah, so like the EA generated guys got our first ever goal, or not EA generated guys, the guys we signed in free agency. And then Jorgensen gets his first ever goal. Sloan picks up an assist as well, which is cool. So Sloan and Jorgensen with the first ever points in, or well, 2 of the first ever points in Anchorage Ice Tiger history. Mayone had 2 points. That's pretty impressive. Okay, now we can simulate through the season pretty damn quick. So this is going to be good, and hopefully we could get to like 5 wins at least. If we get less than that, I don't mind. But it's been a while since I've done like a full-on draft to glory. So our team isn't going to have good offense to start off with. So we're not going to be scoring a lot of goals. As you can see right now, we're averaging like 1 to 2 goals a game. getting shut out quite a bit as well. But it would be nice to see if our top guys get any good seasons ahead. Like, we're not scoring a lot at all, so if Jorgensen could at least put up 20 points, I'll be pretty impressed. Hey, a shootout win over the Preds. That's pretty impressive. There's our first ever win in franchise history, and it comes in the shootout. Interesting. Wasn't expecting to be able to beat the Nashville Predators, but here I am. I don't even think we're going to hit 5 wins. We might hit 3 wins at the most. It's been a while since I've done a Draft to Glory in the first years, so I don't remember how little of wins you get in the first few years. Hey, a win over the Devils as well, 2-1, so some good defensive games when we win them. So we got 2 wins in our first season. Can we hit 3? 3 might be the magic number if we get a chance to play a team that's not too good. But we're definitely going to be the worst team in the league easily. We already have 45 losses and only 2 wins. It's a historic start for the Ice Tigers. Can we hit 3? And hopefully every single season that we build up this team more so that we get more wins, because that would mean we're trending at least in the right direction, because it is going to take us quite a while to make the actual playoffs. Probably like at least 7 or 8 seasons, my guess, before we start having actually like a full roster of drafted players. I don't know why I went buyer, but we're going to continue assimilating because we don't care about the deadline in the slightest. Don't care about the trades that the AI make either. We'll find out what AI teams look like once we actually get to the playoffs and start playing teams in each round, which, like I said, won't be for a while. Also, my Chicago series, if you guys are watching this before a Chicago episode goes up, isn't going to start until there is an official roster update, so hopefully that's quite soon. And it looks like we're only going to finish with 2 wins on the season, unless we get another win here. Yep, another one over the Devils. Okay. Wow, 379-0. So we got 3 wins on the season. So those ones come in against Nashville via the shootout. And then we beat the Devils 2 times this season. Once in regulation 2-1, and in the last game we played against them in the regular season, which was a 4-2 win. So there we go, 3-79. No extra frame wins or whatever the heck. Oh, OT losses. We had no OT losses. That's actually kind of impressive. And wow, Jorgensen had a pretty good rookie season for all things considered, because we didn't really score that much goals. 46 points in 82 games, 27 of which are goals. Like, he might be a playmaker, but he is a good goal scorer apparently. So that's pretty impressive. Let's take a look at the standing stuff first, just because this is going to be pretty funny. And then we'll take a look at our player stats for this first season. We'll mostly focus just on the players that we drafted, though, because we don't care about too much about the other guys. So obviously we are going to be dead last in the entire league with only 6 points, almost by a 70-point margin, which is kind of crazy. Goals for per game on average, we scored only 0.96 goals per game. So that's why Jorgensen factored in most of our goals probably. So we averaged less than a goal a game, and we allowed 5.7 goals per game, which is up there by like 2.4. The Ottawa Senators were the next closest team in terms of goals against, which is crazy. Power play percentage wise, we are 7.3%, which is the worst as well, only by 3% worse in Philadelphia. And then our penalty kill was 71.6%, which was the worst in the league as well. So bursting everything. No shorthanded goals. We are 1-40 on home ice and 2-39 on the road, and 1-9 in our last 10. Let's take a look at those player stats for our drafted guys. Okay, actually, yeah, let's just go through this. So Ashton Brophy, this was our 7th round pick, I think I said. Yep, 7th round pick. He is he had 19 points, which is pretty good for a first year. Minus 120, obviously, because yeah, the first year's players a plus minus is pretty ridiculous. But I would take that. That's a decent rookie season for a 7th round pick. 19 points. Obviously, he seems to be more of a pure playmaker than anything, though. Doesn't shoot the puck at all. 48 shots in 82 games. The rest of these guys don't matter too much because they are the guys that we just filled out our roster with. We also have, right wing wise, Jorgensen's 46 points is pretty damn impressive for a rookie season on this type of roster. 27 goals, 19 assists for 46 points, a minus 126. And yeah, 8 power play goals, 16 power play points is pretty good as well. That's probably all our power play goals, or close to it. And then Sloan had an okay rookie season. A little bit more disappointed with him than I was with Brophy, just because Sloan was a higher up pick. He had 17 points in 82 games. But still, good to see that at least the 3 guys we drafted on forward are picking up some points. Defensively, Nikitin had a pretty good rookie season too. 27 points. That's pretty good for him. He is an offensive defenseman, so good to see him produce. Obviously a minus 149 though. But yeah, that's pretty impressive. And only 4 penalty minutes, so this guy doesn't take much penalty minutes, which is great, as well as a blue liner. Little had 16 points. That's actually really solid for a 49 that jumped up to a 51. We will definitely take a look at the progress reports as well in this episode. And then our other defenseman in Voutilainen, he is kind of like a pure DFD. It looks like 6 assists in 82 games. So there you go on a defensive points. And our goaltender, Klesla played 60 games, only had 1 of our wins, so Sichon got the other 2. But he was 1 in 53 with an 877 save percentage, which isn't necessarily the worst. It's kind of back to like it was in like the 1980s, but I mean it's not the worst, all things considered. Like you would expect maybe even like an 840 something with this type of team. And then his goals against is obviously pretty high, almost at a 6, which is crazy. And he didn't pick up any assists, but that would have been cool if he did. So there is our draft pick player stats. And obviously none of these guys are going to come close to any awards, I think, in his first season. Like, let's see, rookie skater wise, Jorgensen was 2nd in points, but obviously the plus minus is going to deteriorate him for many chances. But he had more points than the first overall pick, which was a franchise player. But he is getting more of an opportunity out of the gate, I guess, so kind of makes sense. Quickly, if you guys want to take a look at points around the league, I'm not going to go super in depth with this, but at least not until the later years, until we actually get guys up there in points. But there you guys want to see that stats. And best goaltender this year, Jacob Markstrom more than likely, or Darcy Kemper had a really good season in Washington. And then, yeah, rookie skater wise, Shane Wright is going to win the Calder more than likely. So there you go. Okay, so now we got to sim up to the draft, which should be interesting to find the draft lottery results out. And also we got to take a look at the awards for this first year. But hopefully draft lottery wise we get ourselves the first overall pick. If we do not, hopefully we stay in the top 3, which more than likely we will. I don't think we can slide out of the top 3, but I want first overall, just because that way we get Connor Bedard, or if we have 2nd overall we get a good EA generated guy. So we'll take a look at what the draft class looks like and all that. The Anaheim Ducks win the cup in year 1. That's a bit of a strange one in my opinion, but congrats to Anaheim. Lehigh Valley wins the AHL. So let's take a look at those awards, see who also won stuff just for fun. So Anaheim wins the Stanley Cup. Calgary won the President's Trophy, and it was Anaheim in Washington for the Stanley Cup. Individual awards, Connor McDavid, Ovechkin, Makar, not a surprise, Kane. Shane Wright wins the Calder. Zegers wins the Conn Smythe, so apparently Zegers is a little bit overrated in this game out of the gate. Vezina goes to Connor Hellebuck. Jacob Markstrom to Jennings. Nikitin won the Bill Masterton. Like, they always give it to a player on your team, usually that's really bad in plus minus. So Nikitin's going to be our first ever trophy winner, winning the Bill Masterton, so shout out to him. Jack Adams goes to Seattle's coach. Anze Kopitar wins the Selke, not a surprise. Ovechkin the Lindsay, and Ovechkin the Richard. So there is the awards for the first season. Pretty impressive. Now let's find out those draft lottery results, and then we'll take a look at the draft class, set up that for next episode. And we'll also take a look at the progress reports to see if any guys got some good development, which hopefully they did. We fall from 1 to 3. So St. Louis somehow has the first overall pick, followed by Nashville and then us. So 3rd overall, I guess I'm okay with, but unfortunately we do not get Connor Bedard this year unless for some reason he falls to us. But retirement-wise, just in case you guys want to see this, Thornton, Weber, like a lot of the guys that they put on like LTIR status in the beginning. So there is, hey, Nigel Dawes retired after that. Arizona Dawes guy had a rookie season. That's kind of funny. And yeah, there you go. So let's see. Oh, Joe Thornton's now coach. That's kind of cool. And then also Seabrook and Weber are now scouts. Interesting. And this wise, I don't think we lost our coach, right? Yeah, we did not lose our coach. Not that I was expecting us to anyways. So there we go. Let's take a look at the draft class, and we'll take a look at that progress report. So We have the 3rd overall pick. Apparently we don't have enough scouts really to scout out a draft class that well, so we might need to do that in the next episode so we could get ourselves better scouting, because obviously like Connor Bedard is a really good player, we know that, but apparently his potential is still unknown. Greg Parker's probably going 2nd overall, which means we're probably going to get a center two-way forward maybe to start off with, like Valery Zykov. I think that's actually a pretty good way to start off with the 3rd overall pick. He's 17. Doesn't have a zone ability, it looks like, but he looks like he does have superstar abilities, and he might end up being like a Raimo Jaskalainen type player with two-way forward status. Or we could end up going with a center slash left winger in Malachi Gallant, who we do not have scouted really that much. And there's also Brandon Yeager, but I think he's a little bit off the board. So I think our first pick for sure would probably be Zykov, just because we don't know much about Gallant. But Gallant could be our pick as well if you guys think it would be a better pick. Let's see, is there any low lead steals that we could pin for later rounds? Hopefully there is, because if we can find some steals in this draft, that would definitely set up our team to being successful better on. Valery Kuznetsov might be a low elite, but he's like 5 years out. We'll pin him in case. There's also Stephen Maloney, who also is 5 years out. We'll pin him. Aiden Hextall, 3 years out. I don't really know what we're going to get at in terms of the later rounds. Let's see what else there is. Any guaranteed top 6 for later rounds? Here, Vinty's a top 6, but he's in the 1st round. I don't know if it's a good draft class or what. Low top 6, that's not bad for maybe a 2nd round pick. Low starter maybe here. Oh, Jackson Parsons, he's a real player. What about Jaskin? Jaskin could be a decent goalie option maybe, but he might be a fringe starter. So anyways, that is the draft class. Final thing, the progress reports in, and that'll be it for this episode. And the next episode will be the entire off season. So in terms of growth, Jorgensen jumped up by 24. He's up to an 83 already, which is quite crazy. He is a 2nd line forward on this team already, so we need to start getting some good players in with him especially. A lot of natural growth, a lot of statistical growth as well, so he might only be like an 81, 82, but still really good growth out of the gate for the 18-year-old. Brophy went up to a 62 as well, so that's actually some good growth from our 7th round pick. And then we also have, who else did we draft? Voutilainen jumped up to a 56. That's good. Nikitin jumped up to a 65. That's also good. That's almost getting into AHL top 2 territory. Or, well, AHL top 6 territory, I guess. What else we got here? Sloan went up only by 3. So Sloan's probably not going to grow much. But he's up to a 59 at 19. And I think that was it, right? Let me just go and check. Jorgensen, Sloan. Yeah, that's it for them. Voutilainen, Nikitin, and who was the other defender? Oh, Little got sent down for some reason. 53 overall for Little. So, Little at least is getting some good growth as well. And then goaltending-wise, Klesla went up by 15. He's up to a 57. Not bad. That's some pretty decent growth from a lot of our prospects. The only one that I'm concerned about is Sloan, because he didn't get a lot of growth and he was playing like top line time. So hopefully he has a good breakout season ahead. So that is that, and that's going to do it, guys, for the 2nd episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in the next episode, we will take it to the next draft. We'll do the entire offseason, and we'll set this team up for year number 2. And yeah, hopefully we could get ourselves a nice, good player to play with Jorgensen. I would assume Zykov is going to be that type of guy, because Zykov, obviously being a center, would be like kind of like the perfect thing to put next to a right winger. And then we just need ourselves a left winger, and we'd have ourselves a top line of medium elites. So anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.